What's going on, everybody? Stefan here. Thanks for joining me tonight on this Insta Live with Kasey Keller. We're waiting for Kasey to join. And we're going to have an awesome chat with him because Kasey, besides obviously being an amazing soccer player and having had an amazing career, and the wealth of knowledge he has in there. He's a really cool guy, and I always enjoy talking to him and discussing things and picking his brain. So should be good talking to him again. How is everybody doing? This is like streaming all over again, right? Great game yesterday. Thank you, Luke. Appreciate it. Thanks for man of the match. I didn't do much. My teammates did all of it, so I was just in the back, firing him on for as long as I could. Okay, let's go live with, tried to go live. So glad you guys are back. Same here. It's been a long time, so excited to be back. Hello.
Steph, what's happening?
Kasey, what's going on? Oh my God, look at your setup.
We're set up. Look, I got my boy here with me.
Boy.
So, see, we got it all sorted out. We've got some product.
You didn't want to come down to beautiful Florida and hang out with me?
Yeah, it's cool to come down to Florida. I mean, but it's all cool, man. You know, you're in the bubble. I don't know if I'm allowed in the bubble. So,
no, you don't want to get in the bubble. Stay out of the bubble, sir. It looks much better where you are. How are you, man?
I'm cool, just chilling. So it was fun getting back to work yesterday, calling the game for KJR and on the radio. And you know, congratulations on the man of the match. And let's kick off this catching up with the keepers, sponsored by CleanCraft. This is the number 1 of 3. The second one we're hoping to do on I think the 14th post game. We'll have a special guest with us, which is pretty cool. So Steph, we kind of mentioned that little bit about the bubble. So kind of fill everybody in who's obviously outside the bubble, and give us a little background on kind of when you guys got there, kind of what the protocols are like, and kind of what the day-to-day looks like.
Yeah, to be fair, they've been pretty good when it comes to testing and such. You know, everything is very, very organized. You know exactly where you have to be, when you have to be there. So they got that part figured out. It's getting a little boring having to eat out of to-go boxes, right? Because obviously, you know, they have everything there to try to be as safe as possible, not sharing utensils and plates and such. But man, I miss a good bowl, you know, a breakable bowl with some actual fork and knife. It's the little things that matter, right? But no, can't be complaining. We're trying to really just stay together as one squad and almost isolate ourselves even more from the rest because you know, you can't really trust anybody. Obviously, even if they're doing everything well, something could go wrong, and so we're trying to limit the chances of any of us coming in contact with someone that has been exposed to it, and try to stay safe as possible.
So if I understand correctly, all the teams are in the same hotel. You have your own floor of that hotel. And then, I mean, obviously you must run into each other a little bit in the elevator or in the hallways. And, you know, like you said, you try to stay as, you know, separated as possible, but there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, so there's 2 hotels and they're right adjacent to each other. Yes, every team has their own floor. But yeah, I mean, you still share the elevators. There's gyms that we're not sharing at the same time, but as I understand it, multiple teams share the same gym. So it's kind of hopefully they're sanitizing all that in between sessions. You walk by squads as you're going to your meals. But it's been very limited, you know. It's everybody's wearing masks, so it's a little head nod. It's like, hey, stay safe, man. Maybe it's a little elbow nudge, but I think it's good to see that because people are taking it seriously and realizing that you know, this is not something to just mess with. You want to be careful.
And then how does the kind of the training schedule work? I mean, because I know there's at the ESPN Wide World of Sports facility, there's lots of training pitches.
Yeah.
You know, we obviously saw, you know, as the matches kicked off, you know, kind of what that looks like. But, you know, I mean, what do the training times look like?
So it's been somewhat unique because obviously with the weather here, not just the humidity but also with the direct sunlight, it gets pretty crazy in the middle of the day. So either teams train very early in the morning or they train very late. So we've had both. We had the first two trainings were really early on. First one was rough. I'm not gonna lie. Just
Right.
getting used to that heat. And I mean, your ears are just pulsing, and you just cannot. Your body doesn't know what's going on. Second one was a little better, and then the third one was a night training, which was a bit strange. It felt kind of cool. You're under the lights.
Right.
I think it was the same time as the first game. Orlando against Miami was playing in the background, so you felt a little bit of a buzz going on. But the thing is, right now we just had a night game, a really late night game, and now.
Sure.
Just looming ahead, we have a super early game, so it's kind of like you have to completely change your clock and adjust as quickly as you can to make sure you're ready for that one. So it's definitely unique for sure.
Yeah, let's kind of look back on the game last night, and first half, Sounders, not in a lot of possession, And I think at different times, it really was a case of, kind of almost what we saw from the MLS final where kind of Toronto came in, kind of dominated, but then that back 6-7, including yourself, really, were able to eliminate a lot of clear-cut chances in which San Jose were really relegated to taking shots from distance, which you look like you handled, quite comfortably, in the end. And then, we didn't create a lot of chances ourselves. Christian then had that one opportunity off the one-on-one, in which Vega made the good save. But, kind of run us through that first half and kind of maybe the messaging at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as you just said. I think we were okay defensively. We were limiting the shots from distance, pushing them out wide. The one thing that it became a bit of a concern for me was, as the half goes on and your players are fatiguing, can you still flow with the game? If we're forcing them to go backwards, can your center back still take 2, 3, 4 yards? To make sure that their strikers have to take those negative steps as well, because if you don't do those tiny little details before you know it, they're right on top of you, and then all it takes is some kind of a weird bounce or a little deflection, and it turns into an ugly goal. And I thought we had done quite well limiting them to opportunistic shots from distance, and I wanted to make sure that we wouldn't allow something stupid like that. So my message to them constantly was, sale, get out, further out, grab that space as much as you can. And but yeah, I thought we actually had the more dangerous chances at halftime. It was about getting your liquids in. I can't remember sweating that much in a prior game. It was just, I look back after the second half, towards the end of the second half, I looked next to my post, and there was 3 empty bottles, and I was the only one that was drinking them. It was something different. But
yeah, I think it's really something that if people haven't played in, that kind of humidity before, because we were kind of trying, Matt Johnson was trying to kind of on the broadcast kind of talk about how, okay, maybe the temperature was high 70s, low 80s, but the heat index was more like mid 80s to high 80s, and the humidity just kept rising. You're talking anywhere from 87 to 90% humidity, and I don't think you quite understand. It's almost like you have to chew the air before you can get it into your lungs, and just how zapping it is.
Yeah, and also, right, it starts messing with the ball. That's one thing too, is shots from distance. I was fortunate because none of them were moving on me too much.
Right.
But humidity can start doing that as well, as the ball's trying to cut through that thick air. It can do all sorts of things. So, but yeah, it's the same for both sides. Credit to San Jose. I think they arrived early. They adjusted to the temperature and the circumstances the best. I think that's going to be one of their strengths. They're not known for being a team that is technically the most watchable, or they have something that's super amazing about them, but they press hard, man to man, and they work their tails off, and that's gonna, it worked in their favor against us. We're the ones that want to have a 50+% possession, and we were lacking on that yesterday.
Yeah, I think it ended up something being like 66-34, 68-32, something like, which is, like you said, uncharacteristic for most Sounders matches. And then, then you get into halftime. You're hoping. I mean, how many times have we seen Sounders, go in at halftime, make some adjustments, and then come out second half? But give, like you said, give San Jose some credit. They made it difficult. And and then what's it like when you come out of that heat, you go into an air-conditioned locker room, and then you have to then come out of that air-conditioned locker room back into the heat.
I mean, honestly, it reminds me of the first time I came into the U.S. and my family, we did a vacation here, and we went to Las Vegas, and it was in the middle of the summer. And I got sick after 2 days because you would be in the air-conditioned hotel, freeze box, outside heat, and you do that 6-7 times. And it's kind of actually been that's probably my biggest gripe in the hotel right now. The hotel is freezing.
Right.
And I almost wish that it was a little bit warmer in there so that it's not such a big change and you can gradually kind of get used to it. I know they're trying to make us comfortable. I appreciate that aspect of it. But yeah, I mean, it is so hot and you just want to make it maybe a little bit more consistent throughout the whole day.
Yeah. I mean, you always have to remember almost when you're in those conditions that you're pretty much wearing a sweatshirt in the air conditioning, and then you come out and you get just the humidity heat blast, and there definitely is some adjustments. And then going into the second half, it looked like that Rui Diaz could have very possibly won a penalty, and then you had a shot from distance that took a little funky deflection, which I thought you adjusted extremely well, but then you looked like you landed a little bit awkwardly and then came up with a little bit of a limp. Any repercussions from that, or just kind of, I don't think people quite understand as a goalkeeper, when you're kind of diving through the air, there's those large points of contact that you're hitting on, which is why you can do that and not feel that pain. But then when you had to make that little bit of adjustment, then you're not hitting those contact points, and it looks like you caught something a little bit awkwardly.
Yeah, that was exactly it. I kind of was going with it. It was staying low, and then I had to readjust with my off leg, actually my inside leg, if you will. And as I was making that last adjustment, my calf just kind of started cramping up. And so I only started feeling that once I started trying to get back up and had that counter movement on the ground, and my calf was like super tight, And but I didn't want to be that goalkeeper that is like, hey, okay, I need some help over here. These guys are all running around for 90 minutes, and I'm the one that needs treatment. I was like, I can't do that. So I'm all good. It's just lost a lot of water weight out there, and it was fought through it, but was happy to keep a clean sheet.
Well, it's those dynamic actions, and I think you saw that with several of the players, particularly late in that second half, when it was something where it was an awkward slide tackle or an awkward landing. I know Christian got kind of upended a little bit. When he landed, you just saw, as a player, you recognized it immediately when they kind of hit, and it was that tense, and then that muscle just locks up, and you really are just hoping that somebody can come and kind of help stretch you out of it. Yeah. And it's good to hear that was all it was. And so, I understand that CleanCraft sent you some product that you can hopefully help you recover a little bit. As you mentioned, I'm sure some of the guys were trying to get some fluids back in them last night, and we were joking a little bit on the broadcast that that 2 a.m. when you roll over in bed and then you have a couple cramps that hit you and you're like jumping out of bed trying to stretch out. Anything that happened? You heard these stories of that going on last night?
No, not yet. But I'm not going to hold my breath. You think you're dreaming, and then you realize, no, I'm not dreaming. It's a cramp. It's an actual cramp. It's
somebody's not stabbing me in the leg. There's actually something less nefarious than that, but it still hurts equally the same. And talk to me a little bit about the last time you kicked off a match at 9 o'clock in the morning.
I
was trying to think about it myself. It must have been like a U13 tournament something, or I can't remember the last time I even started a practice at 9 o'clock in the morning. Played a match.
Or maybe like you had a last preseason game right before you hopped on a plane, and you had to do both of them in the same day, and it was something really strange like that. But Yeah, I mean that's the big challenge, right? Because the question would be, hey, do we have all late games? Sweet,
Right.
let's stay on the West Coast schedule. Let's just sleep in every day. Let's practice at night. Let's have the late night games. Let's be ready for that. But for us now, we had a late one, we have an early one, we have a late one again. So you're really going to have to be Johnny on the spot to try to get your whole system changed to be ready to perform. I mean, we're talking about a 9 o'clock kickoff. That means I'm eating breakfast at 5:30 in the morning.
Right.
Which is, I mean, 2:30 in the morning your time. That's not usually when I eat breakfast, so it's gonna be a little different.
Well, come on, I got to start a pregame show at 5:30 in the morning. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Come on, sort that stuff out, Steph. Talk to your boys at MLS, but no, it is, it just kind of shows you sometimes. And look, we all understand that this is an unprecedented circumstance, and we're just excited that games are back playing, and we know that you guys have to go through some, a stretch of being uncomfortable, and I think everybody appreciates it. It's just difficult because you're used to a particular routine, you're used to doing things the way, and you want to put together the best product on the field as well. And understanding that with those circumstances, it makes it that much more difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you know, as a goalkeeper yourself, we love our routines. We love to be in that comfort zone. And so, yeah, you're getting thrown right out of that, and you just have to kind of adjust on the fly. But, there's still little things that you try to do that you're used to, whether it's, bringing your favorite snack with you, or having all the small little routines that you can control. You try to keep those going, even if it doesn't make any sense. For example, if some player just needs to have his pasta before every game, maybe that means you're going to have pasta on Tuesday morning at 5:30 in the morning. I mean, if that's what it's going to take, that's what it's going to take, right?
That's exactly, and it is. I mean, I think we've all dealt with, interesting circumstances. I remember myself, my first preseason game in Spain when I signed for Rayo Vallecano kicked off at 10:30 at night. And we had our post-match meal at like 2 in the morning. I mean, so there are circumstances. Not me, more of a night person than a day person. It was that much easier to adjust. I couldn't imagine kicking off at right now, trying to prepare for a game that mattered at 9 o'clock in the morning. It definitely is an adjustment, and we hope the best, and that. And I think that's what this tournament is also we're going to see is kind of, as you mentioned, you said that San Jose, you thought were a little bit better adjusted from maybe getting there a little bit earlier and kind of getting into a little bit of a stride. And then now with the difficulties, as you mentioned, that the Sounders are going to have, having that night game, super early game, back to a night game, and how well, the team adjusts in that short period of time to get themselves through to the next round.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to all those little details, right? Every single player, their fluids, their nutrition, their sleeping cycle, all those little things are really going to add up and make the big difference in the end. So it's kind of it's totally unique, right? It's kind of fun because it's a challenge. And you love to face challenges and almost measure yourself up against that and say, hey, I've conquered that. It was a tough game yesterday.
Yeah, it was.
We obviously would have wanted to win that game. But other than that, I think we worked hard. We put in a lot of effort, and it's something to build on. So can we build on it? Can we bounce back from it? And can we show even better on Tuesday?
Yeah, I think the nice thing to really take the positives out of it, I thought defensively, as we talked about earlier, I think the organization looked good at the back. I thought, you limited the shots from distance. We would have loved to have seen more possession, maybe more, goal scoring chances. I thought, again, Rui Diaz, I think just got a little bit wrong. Was Hoppenau had the good cross that then Rui Diaz just couldn't quite get it under control quick enough to get the shot. So yes, there were some great positives even in the attack when it wasn't quite flowing as well as I think we would have liked. And then it's how quickly you can be recovered and be ready to roll for Tuesday morning and try to get all 3 points against a little bit tricky. Talk to me a little bit about the difficulties with with Dallas, being eliminated, and then Nashville, and then the quick switch with Chicago, who, we've already played once this season.
Yeah, we've played once, but they already have new players since then as well,
right,
that have joined. So that will kind of be something new to get ready for. But the thing is also, right, usually, as you know, with MLS preseason, you tend to play some MLS teams in that preseason.
Correct.
So after a couple of games there, you kind of have an idea where you're at. This is the first time where it was like, who knows? We'll kind of see, So, and it was really strange stepping onto the pitch yesterday, kind of being like, you could get run off the park, you could absolutely destroy them.
Right.
You have no idea what's going to happen. And so I think those butterflies. I have butterflies every game, but those initial butterflies are now gone. And maybe we can relax a little bit more. I think the possession is nice. We've shown over the last, I think, almost year that we can be lethal on transition. And I still think that we will score a lot of goals there. But with these circumstances, you need to have possession, because if you're the one chasing the ball and the opponent, and not the opponent chasing the ball and you, come 60th minute, 70th minute, you're going to be absolutely toast. So if we want to succeed, we will need to find some more possession, simply just to tire them out, so that we can find those pockets, and then I think our class will come through.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, you understand how much easier it is to run with the ball than it is without the ball. And if you can, balance that out a little bit better and get yourself into that positive 50% at least, right? And then and then create a few more goal scoring chances, because it's tough in any game to have what I would say was two really good chances plus at least one, maybe even a second decent shout for a penalty. I thought, maybe, San Jose probably had a pretty good shout for a penalty as well, which would have probably evened it out. But it's really tough in those kind of conditions to run without the ball as much as the guys had to the other night.
Yeah, and that's why I was happy with their work rate. Like I said, they put in a lot of work, and that's all I can ask for.
So, Steph, you want to go to a couple questions from some of the people who are rolling in? Go for it.
Cool. Let's see. Questions from your viewers will show up here. I don't see any questions. So if anybody has any questions,
send them to Steph, because I have a cameraman. So,
man, you even got a cameraman?
I even got a look. I got a cutout. I got a product. I got a great set. And a cameraman.
You got when are you spinning something? You're like a DJ up there.
Well, get some heavy metal rolling in the background from that show. I'll get Slipknot showing up to.
Okay, so if I see any questions, I will answer them. So I'm at the bottom now, guys. If you have any questions to either myself or Kasey, please shoot your questions.
So one thing while we're waiting for some questions, understand that if you log on to cleancraft.com, the first 15 purchases get a signed postcard from the one and only Stefan Frei. So log on to your cleancraft.com and get some CBD hemp product.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so here's a good question. Kasey, I'll let you take this one. What is the biggest tip you would give an aspiring goalkeeper?
I think
a young aspiring goalkeeper.
I think one thing that I found that is one of the biggest tips, and this is first one's going to be a joke. The second one's going to be real. The first one that we always kind of joke about young aspiring goalkeepers is, how tall is your father? Is your father 6 feet or taller, and then go from there. But that's always the kind of the little bit of joke. But for me, I think one of the best things you can do as a young goalkeeper is try to find a goalkeeping coach that you can work with locally, because that's going to give you the best chance. I mean, without me seeing you or Stefan seeing you train or the little issues that are going on in your game. And again, that's just a one-off thing. If you can find that coach, because remember, if you're a goalkeeper, you have to put in double time. You have to do the training sessions with your team, and then you have to find that time to do that individual training sessions, or at least in a small group of other goalkeepers where you're getting that specified goalkeeper training. That's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is sometimes as a goalkeeper, you got to put in that double work and kind of seek out locally who that person is, who that, talk to your club director, talk to, some people that in the game and see if you can find that goalkeeping coach that you can work with on a regular basis.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, and it makes it so easy when you have someone like Tommy, right, that's so motivated, and because obviously you want to be motivated out of your own. We pride ourselves to be the hardest working bunch every day, right?
Easily,
yeah, and you I think you have to enjoy putting in that work. That is a one thing, but then it's really nice when you have a coach that loves that as well, loves that competition, loves that hard work, and Tommy is, I mean, he gets absolutely psyched when he sees a guy almost at the brink of throwing up. That just makes his day. So I mean, he's perfect to work with.
Well, and then it's that combination too. Part of it's that hard work, and then part of it is really appreciating then when he hits that shot in that lower corner and he sees the fruit of his labors is that goalkeeper makes that big save and tips it around the post and just kind of shows that the work is paying off. And then, to your point, speak for myself, I think we've talked about this before, but the enjoyment is almost in training. The games are a ball of stress, right?
Yeah.
And you can enjoy getting that repetition in. For me, I was, and I think a lot of goalkeepers, you're kind of just a clock watcher, right? Okay, I got through the first 15 minutes without making a mistake. Okay, I've got to halftime without making a mistake.
Totally.
Okay, I got through the game. Everything's great. I made my couple saves. I did what I needed to do. My distribution was good. I read the game great. Oh God, I could have done that better, but I didn't get punished for it. But okay, I'll try to do that better next time. And then it's that in the training where you can really kind of have that more fun without quite that stress level.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's see another question. I saw one. When did you commit to being a goalkeeper rather than a field player?
Steph, start with it, and then I'll come in after.
Okay. Mine was I have an older brother. Michael. He's 3 years older than me, and in my household, we played all sports. Organized sports, you were able to join at 6, so he joined it at 6. He was all about soccer. He went to soccer. I wanted to be a hockey player, and so he converted me to soccer before I even got to start doing hockey. So I became a soccer player at 6, and soon after, I think at 7-ish or so, we had a tournament in Austria. There was a big puddle in front of goal. Our keeper was hurt. I was like, Superman over that sounds awesome, and that was my first day as a goalkeeper, and I've never looked back. What about you?
For myself, I was in kind of, that typical kid that wanted to play every sport, right? So my dad was a baseball player. He pitched at Washington State and got drafted in the late rounds for Major League, and never, didn't quite think he was good enough, and so never kind of went on that route. But so I always grew up at a baseball field. Dad played rec basketball, loved basketball, played football, American football a little bit later. But Steph, you're falling on me here. The wind's picked up. Northwest winter. I'm telling you right now.
Boo, your beautiful weather over there.
It's about 64 degrees and a little bit windy. So talk about perfect playing condition. And then really I was probably about 6 or 7. I ended up having to play a year older, and I was probably comfortably the worst player on the team. And then the next year kind of jumped in with my friends in my own age group, and just kind of took off from there. And then probably not till about 12 or 13 when I tried out for my first select team. I think like a lot of kids, you kind of did your turn in goal. I enjoyed it. I was good at it. I still played in the field, but I started to do a couple camps up with Cliff McGrath at Northwest Soccer Camp. I was doing kind of field player camps, and then they had some specialized goalkeeping camps, and I was able to kind of do 1 week of field player camp and 1 week of the specialized goalkeeper camp. And, I think a lot of times you really kind of gravitate to what you really are finding success at. And then I really was starting to have a lot of success in goal. And that's when I tried out for the select teams as a goalkeeper. And, within a couple of years, I was making state teams and youth national teams, and it just kind of took off from there.
Took off, yeah. That's awesome. It's always interesting to hear how people get into their thing, right? Let's see if I find it. You want to do another one?
Yeah, go for it.
I don't see any other ones. Any art while I'm here? I'm not doing any art right now.
You didn't bring the paints with you? I mean,
no, I didn't bring
the damn hotel room by yourself forever. You might as well have painted something for my house. What's going on, bro?
I brought my laptop, so I might do a little bit of sketching here and there. But my wife actually, she's busy packing everything
she's
by
packing
herself.
Up the studio.
Yeah, she's packing up my studio. I was like, I got to go to Florida. Sorry.
Steph, I'm telling you, that's the way to do it. You know how many times I signed for a club kind of late in preseason and then had to, move countries and then just say, oh, sorry, honey, man, I'm in preseason. I'm playing. The season starts next week, and
you volunteered to report to preseason a week early, didn't you?
Well, actually, I was usually spending the summers with the national team, so then I was trying to get back to preseason as late as possible.
Yeah.
Having a week or two, play a couple games, and then get started, but I did have definitely a couple different times where I was truly transferred right before the season started, and my poor wife had to handle that whole move on her own.
Bless her. She did a good job, though.
She did a great job.
Awesome. Brian Meredith, have you finished my painting yet? Brian Meredith, come on, man. We don't.
Come on.
You're Canadian now.
Yes. Well, but also you can't rush an artist. It doesn't work like that. When the juices flow, they flow, and otherwise you just get a knockoff, man. I mean, come on, Brian, you gotta know that.
Plus for commission pieces, man, you got to put 50% down, sir.
That's usually in Canadian dollars or American dollars. What is it?
Oh man. All right, that's all I got on questions, I think.
Well, Steph, it sounds like we've had a great first episode. And,
yeah, that was fun, man.
Looking forward to number 2, and stay tuned, and we'll give everybody the details, and we'll knock out number 2 for Clean Craft and catching up with the keepers.